Afternoon, David.
Afternoon, David. I see you're the same as me. You're an extremely Scottish extremist.
Yes, these are the T-shirts we were talking about, which were gifted to us from Karen and Lynn.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for that.
they are extremely lovely.
We're wearing them.
Well made.
We're wearing them with honour. So is that.
We certainly are wearing them with pride and honour. Right, let's get Facebook on board. And get the chat up. We've already got 46 in the door. Okay, that's fine, folks. And that's not including Facebook, because it doesn't seem we couldn't Facebook at the moment. I see Reagan Elite's in, folks. Check.
If you hear any scraping in the background, that's my new window cleaner. You see, he's just about finished. Late one for Chris. Are you running, David? Are you moving? Or are you frozen? Or what's the score?
In the Leaks channel. Who else we got?
David, your video is frozen.
And
yeah.
Rosie?
Yeah, and that's better.
Sorry about that, David. I seem to be having some connection problems.
And your quality of your pictures now much better, much improved.
Sorry about the small interruption there, folks. I seem to be having some connection problems. That's the joy of living in a rural area.
Yeah.
Anyway, what we got? We got 121 on board, David. And
yep.
we've got Facebook comments coming through as well. Hi, Kevin. Which is good. 123 in climbing. And as I was saying when I came to a stop, check out Reagan Elite's channel, folks.
Yep.
And I was looking to see who else was in. Hi, Stephen. Hi, Chris. Right, anyway, David, it's the Two Davies on the 23rd of the 9th, 2024. And how are you today?
I'm fine. I went to the ear, nose and throat clinic today and they couldn't find a damn thing wrong with me. There you go. Off the fact I'm deaf.
It's just not too funny, you're hanging right, is there? And you phoned me up excited yesterday, you managed to wobble round the house to get a seat outside the front.
Aye. Yeah.
Cool.
Managed to get outside the back and walked with a Zimmer right the way around and brilliant. I felt 7 foot tall.
Yeah, well, it's an achievement, David. It's a start, it's an achievement. That's you on the road to Motability again.
Yep.
You know? Right. We may as well get into it, as there's enough people on board for Facebook and from YouTube. Right. Non-entity, snake oil salesman, and irrelevance here in Scotland. The Governor-General, Ian Murray, appears on the BBC yesterday to tell us all that the new Red Tory government have inherited the worst economic and a public finance situation since the Second World War, and that there's going to be a lot of pain as they rebuild the finances, as they rebuild the foundations of our society. Because if they don't rebuild the foundations of our society, then society will collapse, according to Mr. Murray. And according to Mr. Murray, the non-entity, all this depends on growth. In order to be able to finance this, the economy is going to have to grow.
That word growth again. We had that umpteen times during the the sitting of the Tories, and we look at growth and we think, how can they have any growth when they've given away the business that they did with 27 EU countries?
Well, as I say, he also in this interview with the BBC tells the BBC the only route out of poverty is growth. Is that not what the last Conservative government told us?
That's what I just said.
Is that not what the previous Labour government administration told us?
Yeah.
Is that not what Thatcher told us as she sold everything off?
Growth, growth, growth. Yeah.
Well, it's obvious, David, and I was talking about this morning, these people are economic illiterates. You know,
yeah.
In order to get growth, you invest in your economy, you invest in your people, and you don't privatise your utilities the way that Thatcher did.
Yeah. What can I say? we're now looking at a situation where it's now 3, 4, 5 years they've been talking about growth as being part of the front of any policies,
yes.
Right? So that's the Tories from the front bench, growth, 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 and then we come into the Labour bench, and it's totally bonkers. It really is. They're not prepared to do anything to create growth, and yet they're asking for it.
As I say, it's absolute nonsense, David.
Yeah.
They don't understand the fundamentals of a market economy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many times you and I have explained this. I explained it again this morning, the wee Mrs. McGumford scenario, David, you know.
The most perfect example of a market economy was when the other soldiers came out of the Second World War. There was a land fit for heroes, right? And they all got their jackets off, their sleeves rolled up, and they built houses, or they built roads, or they built whatever, right? And the government went ahead and borrowed money so that it could finance doing all that.
And of course,
in that way, we actually managed to grow the economy.
Yeah, but as you and I know as well, they were borrowing money, but they weren't actually borrowing nothing because they gained assets.
Yes.
They gained assets. You see, that goes back to the difference between wealth and money again, you know. What they did was they borrowed money to create wealth.
Yep.
And what Thatcher did was she reversed the whole fucking story.
Yeah.
Sold off the assets to get the horns and money, but money then fritters through the fingers.
Well, in actual fact, she was getting 45 billion a year coming down the road from Scotland.
Aye.
That allowed her to finance putting all these men on the sick, get rid of the steel industry, and then flattened Ravenscraig. Yeah.
Aye. Hey. Where is that one? Hashbury Stumbles is saying that the nurses in England have turned down the latest pay rise.
Yeah, well, I don't blame them because they've been in a situation where the nurses in Scotland have had pay rises, had it backdated, right? And the people in England haven't had anything. So it's possible that they are owed an awful lot more than they're being offered.
Aye, that's true. As I say, so we're still hearing this nonsense about growth when there's no markets to grow into.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on. Sunday, of course, we had the second Mr. Irrelevant here. Hi, Roshan. The second Mr. Irrelevant in Scotland on the BBC and the mainstream media. And that was First Minister John Swinney. And John was there to tell us that there's no shortcuts to independence and he will grow confidence in independence. Do you have a clue what that means?
Right. For somebody to actually say there's no shortcuts to independence for a people that have waited for fucking years in order to get a chance at independence is ridiculous. It's ridiculous language coming from somebody who calls himself our First Minister. Get rid of John Swinney as quick as possible.
Never mind that, David. Let's get to the point on what he said. He's going to grow confidence in something that we do not have. How do you do that? How can you grow confidence in independence if you're not independent? Once you're independent, you start to grow confidence in your ability to navigate independence. But at this point in time, we don't have a campaign, we don't have a route map, and we have a fucking idiot First Minister who doesn't know what he's talking about and appears not to understand language for somebody who used to be a school fucking teacher.
Yep. No.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly sick of John Swinney. Get rid of him.
But the other thing is, he's grown confidence in nothing because the people don't believe him.
Yeah. Right. You know, the man might be out there with his running shoes every morning and all the rest of it, right? But when what's in there isn't firing on all cylinders.
Oh no, he's firing on cylinders, but he's firing to his capability. And his capability, David, just hold on a minute. I know you're disliked for a man.
His capability.
Just be quiet. Oh, easy. He is running to his. He is firing all cylinders. He's running to his capabilities. He is a capable administrator, but he's not a leader.
No, he's not a leader.
Thanks, Kaz. Yeah, and thanks for the T-shirt, my dear. Kaz, I was expecting to see you and Lynn in George Square last on Saturday, but I never did. I had it on there so you could see it. But you're right. Thank you, Karen, and thank you very much for the contribution to the food bank as well.
Yep.
Right, let's get out of here. Absolutely fantastic T-shirts. And what have we got for Liz here? Feeling privileged that you can get help the hungry. So sad it has to be done. Liz, we are very grateful that you do help.
Fantastic, Liz.
Honestly, unbelievable. You guys are so generous. And the communities here in Scotland. Thank you. And Julie, I'm spoiling you by being on twice a day. You better, twice today. You'll get that on a Monday and a Thursday going forward. Unless I've got something I've got today and I can't a daily show, you will get a daily show going forward because we need to increase the content of the channel if we're going to grow the channel. And if we're trying to grow the channel to increase the revenues that we make to give, because austerity is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, David, here, I know you haven't watched this morning's broadcast. You don't watch your output, but one of the headlines in this morning's paper was in the Eye, and what it was doing was basically saying, "Please don't bring austerity back." It was pleading, "Don't bring austerity back." I was like that. Where the fuck's the Eye newspaper been? Austerity's never went away. You know. Anyway, so John's going to grow confidence is something that we don't have. Something we don't have a route to, and something we don't have a campaign for.
Ridiculous.
That's a wee bit wacky, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was well staying in his bed with his toast and fucking tea yesterday morning. Wow. I say he might be a capable administrator, but he's definitely no leader. And I know you don't like him, so there you go.
Do you know something? I don't have anything against him as a person. He's actually a very, very nice man.
He is, aye.
Right. But as far as the leader that I need to see at the top of the SNP, which is the Party of Independence, he's just not it.
No, he isn't. Right, let's move on, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Right, Labour's new MP to lobby. Sorry, let me start that again. Labour's new branch office MPs to lobby Sir Kidstarver and Rachel Reeves' granny freezer to nationalise Grangemouth Oil Refinery. Now, you want to start the laughing first of all, huh?
No, do I know something? I've got to say that their heart's in the right place, right? But they've got no idea of who it is that's running their fucking party when they come away with nonsense like that.
You think they'd have learned after the two-child cap and the granny freezing, wouldn't you? I mean, they were whipped into voting to maintain the two-child cap.
Yeah.
With the exception of two who told them there'd be a by-election in their areas if they weren't given an abstention for the granny freezing bill. You think they'd have learned a lesson? You think they'd know by now that Starmer has no interest in them or Scotland? In fact, that nationalisation of Grangemouth runs contrary to their plans to cripple Scotland's economy and make us totally dependent on our UK for fuel. I mean, they have no idea. You think they'd have got it by now that they're an irrelevance in the Labour Party, wouldn't you?
Well, an irrelevance in Keith Starmer, his mind.
Oh,
he doesn't think about anybody else.
But you've got to remember that he doesn't need them. See, they all walk to floor the moor to become independents. Starmer would bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
He doesn't need them.
Yeah.
So, if they haven't already worked out how irrelevant they are and how irrelevant Scotland is to Starmer's thinking, by now, then they're about to get the shock of their fucking life, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they are. Well, I mean, it just shows you how little Starmer thinks of Scotland. He's got 39 new MPs. There must be some talent in there somewhere, maybe. Surely. Yet, how disinterested he is in Scotland is the fact that he's left Ian Murray, a guy that nobody's heard of and who has no influence in Scotland whatsoever, as Secretary of State for Scotland. Tells you everything about Starmer and how he is Scotland.
The one thing that Starmer is most freaked out about is if there is any real talent inside those 39 MPs, 38, he'd be worried if Andy's after him.
There's that as well.
Starmer does not want that at all.
But I mean, what makes him think he's going to nationalise Grangemouth when he's already made it clear he's not nationalising nothing?
Yeah.
The railways he's not really nationalising, he's just letting the franchise run down.
Yeah.
And then they're not putting the franchises back out to tender.
Yeah.
You know? So, there we go. 38 irrelevancies are just about to find out how irrelevant they are. Right, Scotland's biggest public sector trade union, Unison, has accepted this year's pay offer from the Scottish Government for NHS staff of 5.5%. Unite and the GMB are expected to follow suit. So all good to next year's pay round there. Now, as to the offer south of the border, that was 5.5% as well, David. So that means via the Barnett formula, the majority of this 5.5% pay rise will be covered by the Barnett formula. Now, I say the majority, David.
Paid for by the Barnett, but as you've said quite rightly, we've got an out of kilter the amount of staff per head of population.
Yes.
More doctors, more nurses, more dentists, all the rest of it.
And more auxiliary staff as well, David. So when I say it will cover most of the costs, you've just highlighted why it will cover most of the costs, because we have more staff in our NHS per capita than the English NHS and the Welsh NHS and the Northern Irish NHS, because we have invested heavily in staff, especially support staff, to keep the hospitals cleaner and healthier.
What? Did you see the news several weeks ago about the number of doctors, new doctors, joining the NHS?
Aye, joining the Glasgow Health Board, 277, but they say we've seen 160, 186 join NHS 5.
Yeah.
Another, same again with NHS Lothian, NHS Highlands and Islands, there's about 100 go up there.
Yep.
Aberdeenshire, there's about 100 go up there as well. So, you know, the intake, there are large intakes coming out of the universities each year straight into NHS.
Well, I've got to say, the one field that they planted them in, it blooming turned up a good crop, didn't it?
As I say, the Barnett formula will cover most of the pay rise.
Yep.
But because we have more staff per capita, the rest will need to be made up out of the Scottish tax system.
Yeah.
Right. The last thing on the agenda for the Scotland only part of the show before we branch out into wider UK and world issues. That is that the SNP have suspended a piece of legislation which only passed in April. Right, now this piece of legislation, well, they haven't halted the whole legislation, but this piece of legislation, a section of it has been halted in order to take into consideration its effects on rural areas. Now this bill is called the New Build Heating Scheme, Heating Standards, the NBHS. Now, the legislation was introduced to force new builders in Scotland not to heat their new properties or to ban new properties being built with fossil fuel heating systems. Okay. Now, there's a section of this legislation which has had to be halted and it's going to have to be rewritten. And the reason it's going to have to be rewritten is rural areas where people can be off-grid. Like if you take the village I'm in, David, right? Now, this is an all-electric village, there is no gas.
No gas, that's
right. Right, and because the council has taken out all the solid fuel heating systems, when we get a power cut, it gets bloody cold. There is no alternative.
Yeah.
You know, so most days I've got a Cala gas heater kicking about somewhere that would drag out when there's a power cut. Yeah. You know. But David, you and I have spoke about this before because this created a huge doozy when it passed in April, remember?
Oh yeah. If you think about it, this was put forward by the Greens.
That's right. It was a badly written piece of legislation.
Seriously, I just don't know why it got through as it did.
Well, it wasn't well written and it passed the Parliament without anybody noticing this, even though people who lived in rural communities were complaining about it. Now, we know when they introduced it in April, Aberdeenshire Council went out to start ripping coal fires out of their properties, their council properties out in rural Aberdeenshire. And of course, as you know, you and I know, David, we spoke about it at the time, there was a bloody ruckus.
Yeah.
People were refusing to let people onto the council into their homes.
Yeah.
There was threats of violence to council workers who were being sent out to do these things. And that's because they hadn't thought it through. There should have been an exemption in the legislation for rural communities.
Yeah.
Because if you're in rural Highlands and you're off grid, or you've only got electricity running in off the network, and that electricity is knocked out, then if you don't have solid fuel, or you don't have a tank of butane or a tank of oil to heat your house, you're fed. You need to have an open fire.
In actual fact, it goes down deeper than that. A lot of people in these areas have traditionally used peat or whatever.
Right?
So everything's set up for that. Right?
Yes,
so they suddenly give them something different, or perhaps maybe legislate where they have to use gas or whatever, right? Forget it. They're not going to change like that overnight.
Gillian, that explains why you make them wonderful candlesticks, because you live off grid. I don't live off grid, but I do live in a village where there is only one form of power. And when that form of power goes down, we all freeze.
The way that you actually make this work over a period of 20, 30, or 40 years is that you make the way that you want to go cheaper than the traditional methods.
Yes, yes, of course.
And if you make it cheaper than the traditional methods, then people will go, "Oh, we'll need to do that, Jeannie." Right? You know what I mean? It's like it becomes a talking point in the house.
Anyway, the legislation was badly written. There should have been an exemption for rural communities. It is now being the bit that's
Oh, David, you've frozen up again. Apologies, folks. We're suffering one of those days where David, because he lives in a rural area, the broadband's not quite as good as it should be. Hopefully we're back on in a few seconds. Nope. Oh, here it comes. This is generally... there you are.
right. I'm sorry about this, folks, but as David's explained, I live in a rural area.
It's like that. It's like that joke, that sketch that was done with the guys doing the.
David, I don't know whether this is going to what's going on here. I don't know whether the internet's going to drop off. I'll see if we can keep going. Okay.
Yeah.
If no, we'll just knock it in the head. Right, let's move down that road, shall we? Now, of course, there's nothing being spoke about this weekend in the news at the moment, except for the Labour conference, David. And it'll be the same in tomorrow's papers because there's the keynote speeches a day for Rachel Reeves and Starmer and that, as the conference comes to a close.
Yep.
So, but what we're not reporting on is the absolute chaos around and within the Labour Party conference. There is protests going on out with the conference, around the conference, and there are protests taking place by the delegates in the conference. Now, David, what do you think they're protesting about?
Oh, come on. Anybody that's read the papers or watched the news or whatever knows about the grannies losing their winter fuel payment, right? Obviously, that's one of them, right?
Well, David,
the other one is the two-child cap, all that sort of bit. So in other words, what you've got is you've got Labour people that were expecting Labour to come in and be the good guys. They're not.
No, but as I say, I made a list of the different protesters.
What?
I made a list of the different protests that were going on. And as you say, quite rightfully, there was the austerity protest against the two-child cap and the end of winter fuel. There was WASPy women there.
Yep.
There was those there over the post office scandal and the lack of emphasis in getting these people paid out.
Yep.
As we know, Weber's reneged on giving the WASPy women compensation at all. And of course, there was also those who were there to protest against the continued sales of arms to the genocidal regime in Israel. So,
and why is that happening? Because, unfortunately, I have to say it, Keir Starmer, his household is Jewish, right?
The household's Jewish, yes, he's no Jewish, he's a Zionist, but he's a Christian Zionist.
They do back the Jewish state.
He is a Christian Zionist.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is such things.
Yeah.
So anyway, so what's not been reported about this conference is, apart from Starmer's victory dance at the conference being ruined by fucking sleaze, and we'll get to mere sleaze in a minute, because the difference between sleaze and corruption really is one's no corrupt, one's no illegal, sorry. They're both fucking sleazy, they're both corrupt, but one's no illegal. Anyway, as I say, His conference has been ruined by clothesgate, a chummyism, jobs for the boys, that sort of thing, as is his premiership. In fact, you would think that Boris Johnson was still around when you look at the amount of sleaze there is in the rags. But anyway, more sleaze for the Labour Party, as Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner defends using donors' New York apartment for holiday.
Yeah, well, you know, if you've got such a thing available, then you use it. But if you're an MP, if you're a cabinet member, then you know fine well you're going to be hauled to the coals for it. Seriously, ridiculous.
But as I say, honestly, you've had clothesgate, you've had a cronyism, you've got jobs for the boys, now we'll get gifts and holidays. You know, it's absolutely outrageous. I wonder when David Lammy's going to fuck off to a bunga bunga party with a Russian spy in Italy, leaving the security detail behind. Because for some reason it feels as if Boris Johnson and his fucking shower of shite never left.
Yes. I wonder what Lord Lebedev of Siberia thinks about it all.
Oh, I've just seen an invitation out to Lammy as we speak. But honesty, Christ. Anyway, it would appear for the new government all is not going well, apart from the sleaze and the lies. We'll get to some of the lies in a minute when we get Rachel Reeves and her fucking keynote speech today.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, as you've said umpteen times before this, does Starmer really give a shit about any of it?
No.
He doesn't.
He's another Boris Johnson. He wanted the job, but he's not got the talent to do it.
Yeah, but regardless of talent or whatever, right? We're talking about Sir Keir Starmer. Who knows he's going to be out in his ear in a while. So therefore, why give a shit? Why give a shit?
Yeah, he's there to line his own pocket while he can.
Correct. No. So he's got nice suits, lots of money.
Nice glasses.
Yeah.
His wife's got nice dresses.
He's had money off Israel as well.
Nice.
So he's going to benefit all directions.
Oh, of course he is. Anyway, but things are not going well for Starmer. Really, he's got the problems with Sue Gray and his chief civil servant. Mm-hmm. And now it appears that Sadiq Khan, the Labour London Mayor, is not impressed with the new leadership. How do we know this? Well, he's fucked off to New York rather than going to the conference.
But that speaks volumes, doesn't it? That means that he doesn't want to be faced by the newspapers or broadcasters asking about different things about the Labour Party, because he really doesn't want to be part of it.
I don't know if they want to be part of it or whether he's been sent off. Anyway, the London Assembly's gone after Nut. Reagan will like this bit. The London Assembly are going after Nut. They want Khan back, and they didn't want him back. They wanted him at the conference, thumping the tub for Londoners to get a bigger slice of the pie. Which is fine, that's what all councils are wanting to do. But here's a wee news flash for Reagan Elite and all those in London who might not know this. One of the first things Sadiq Khan did was go to see Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer and asked for money to fix some of the problems within London. And he was told to bugger off. The same thing that Rachel Reeves is telling her government departments today when she's standing in Liverpool lying through her teeth in her keynote speech, saying there'll be no more austerity and that things will be properly funded and that departments will get real-term increases in budget. Now, folks, David and I know what that real-term means. The real term increases in budgets only apply to budgets being adjusted by inflation. So basically, they're getting enough extra money to cover the extra cost of inflation, and that will just be enough money to keep the departments of the UK government treading water.
But yet again, right? It's not money to cover inflation. It's to cover the extra effects of inflation.
That's right.
Right? So read those words carefully.
So, folks, see when you hear the term real term rise in funding, we're only talking about funding being adjusted by inflation. We're not talking about extra money going to departments. We're talking about the same budget, treading water, and services not being improved.
Yep.
So when you hear that term, real term fund increases, the fund is being increased by inflation, and that's just to cover the effects of inflation on that particular department's budget.
Yeah.
So to say there is no more austerity, Angela Rayner stood on that stage in Liverpool in front of the people and lied through her fucking teeth when she said there'll be no more austerity. You have to understand what real term rises means. Oh, and the other thing she's telling government departments is, by the way, that doesn't apply to all departments. Some departments are going to have to negotiate for their budgets. Wow. I guess there's...
Bad situation already.
Folks, I'm sorry about that. Now, I guess there will be departments where they decide that the funding is not really that necessary, and they'll be the departments which will see the squeezes, whatever services they will be. Right, so that covers a keynote speech for Rachel Reeves today. I'll cover it a bit more in the newspaper headlines tomorrow because, believe me, her speech will be making the headlines.
Oh, yeah.
But folks, her speech today, lies, and damn lies.
Yeah.
This idea that the real term increase in funding, it's not an increase at all. It's just the same budget adjusted for the effects of inflation.
Now see at this
That's
moment.
all it is.
See at this moment in time.
Right. So Sadiq Khan.
David. Whoa. At this moment in time, we've got the changeover from a Conservative government to a Labour government. You remember the last time really that happened, where there was any big thing, was when it changed from Thatcher, it changed from John Major through to Blair. And we all had to hope that the Blair would do something. He didn't do something. But this time we've got a situation whereby we've changed over between Conservative and Labour, and it's come through being extra bad. We see the situation that Starmer has produced, along with his team, get away with the winter fuel payment being taken off. That was ridiculous. So
I don't know if you've seen
this is something that everybody is going to be picking up on. So if you ask somebody, if you speak to somebody, just ask them, what do you think of the winter fuel payment? Get there.
Well, anyway,
get there.
Before we get into the Rachel Reeves speech, Sadiq Khan's either been sent to bloody New York or he's went to New York, but obviously there are problems at Mill when the London Labour Mayor is not at the Labour conference. There is definitely trouble at Mill.
You think it could have been sent there? Just thinking that he could have stirred up dissent within the Labour Party.
Is that a real terms £20 note? With inflation sitting at, it's only £18.50 orange. Hey, right.
I was saying, you think he's been sent to New York on purpose, thinking that he was going to stir up dissent within the Labour Party?
I think so, aye, because as I say, what Londoners might not know, but one of the first things the mayors did was approach Reeves and Starmer about funding, and they get dealt the same thing as government departments are getting dealt. You'll get a real terms increase and nothing else, meaning your budgets will be the same except for adjusted for inflation.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Hmm.
Now, constitutional trouble's never far away when it comes to the UK because it is an unhappy union. You know, it is an unhappy union. And at this time, of course, the trouble for Starmer isn't coming from Scotland, it's coming from Ireland.
Yeah.
And I don't mean Northern Ireland, I mean Ireland. Now, the leader of Sinn Féin, Mary Lou MacDonald, is at the Labour conference. And she was holding a fringe event. And in that fringe event, she tells Starmer that he better get a route map put in place for a border poll within the next 6 years.
Yeah.
Now, folks, you'll know that the Northern Irish are allowed to ask themselves the constitutional question every 7 years. Now, Stormont's been back up and running for nearly a year, and that's why Mary Lou MacDonald is telling Starmer, you've got 6 years, because she's telling Starmer the political situation in Northern Ireland has changed. The nationalists are now the majority, and when that next Stormont election comes around, that will be reinforced, and she wants a border poll.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, if you look at the mechanics of it, right? In the past, what's happened is that the moment it looked like things on that side were getting strong, the DUP would walk away with the ball. They would end up closing Stormont for a period of time, right? And it would have to be voted on and all the rest of it, right, to get it open again.
And that's why
now we've got a situation with Mary Lou MacDonald where she is like other politicians in the past in Scotland have actually said, we're doing it whether you like it or not, or what other politicians should have done.
Well, anyway, Mary's telling get that situation sorted.
Oh dear, it's happening again, isn't it? I think
no, David. Starmer's no listening to anybody.
Your body would like 10 to a dozen. Yeah. You've got real problems with your internet. I suggest what you do is get through this as quick as possible.
Right, well, Dave, we'll just doubles, then we'll wrap it up there, David, because I'll get big internet problems. Sarah, stay in the kitchen, don't pass the modem. Oh well, I'll probably drop off in this thing. Anyway, Mary Lou MacDonald's making it clear they're going to win that next Stormont election, and they want a border poll. Now, what you were saying about the unionists crashing the Parliament, that's the other thing she says. She says, get it in place now, get your head wrapped around it now, because if they shut that Parliament, we still want that border poll, because we know that the majority will be on our side next time.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on here. Starmer's got constitutional problems coming from left, right, and centre. The appetite for Welsh independence is growing. The appetite for Scottish independence will continue to grow as things get worse and worse, David. And it would appear that Northern Ireland are looking at Southern Ireland, looking at themselves and saying, everything here is no fucking working. Maybe we're better off with that mob. That's where we're at, constitutionally.
Well, you think that Mary Lou would come and work for us?
Maybe once she's settled on all the situation in Ireland, she'll maybe come out and give honours, Because the way things are going, they'll be there for us. Right, folks, I'm sorry about the internet problems today. I can't do nothing about it. It would appear that my provider, British Telecom, are fucking about with my service today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to end it there, David. I want to Otti, if you're now, if you're on YouTube, please hit the white button. If you're on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button.
Yep.
And share in your social media platforms, please. I want to thank you. Everybody who contributed to the Food Bank Fund today. As you know, we're in the second half. We're in the end. We're coming to the end of the month. We get paid out by YouTube between the 21st and 26th. So I'll get to work and getting the funds out to the food banks. Western Bartonshire is where we're going this time round, David. So I'll go on to that as soon as I check and see when YouTube has paid us out. Okay.
Yeah.
From
Chapel are in a bit of a state at the moment.
Aye, so, okay. So
in that direction would be much help.
Well, it's in the right borough, so you can give me the details on who to talk to there, David, and I'll sort it out with the drum. And then wee Mammy along there in Dumbarton, her food bank will get it and all. So, and we'll see how the funds are sitting to see how much we can give you. Okay, folks, you've been hell of a generous as usual. You always are, you wonderful people. But we're going to round it up early here the day before my internet connection crashes altogether. So that just leaves one thing left to say, Davey.
Bye, Davey. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thanks, mods. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Bye for now.